Hi YouTube, welcome to another hardware testing video. In this video, I'm going to be testing this, which is the Max Studio M4 Max. This is the 32-core GPU version with 36 gigs of RAM. And so we're going to run the normal Blender tests that I run. We're going to run OpenData benchmark, and then we're going to run Cinebench 24. At the end of the video, I'll show all of the results, and then I'll talk about why I think APUs like this Max Studio are the future of rendering. And hopefully you guys get a lot of good information out of this, but let me know if you have other questions or other videos that you would like to see. Also coming down the line is the RTX 5060 Ti, which will hopefully be this week. So watch for that as well. But let's just get into the testing right now. So starting with the classroom scene, this one runs really fast, and with the speed up it takes no time at all. But this test ended up taking only 18.5 seconds. Next one is the barbershop. Barbershop scene took 1 minute and 42 seconds on the M4 Max. Next is the Lone Monk scene, which is by far the heaviest. So this one is sped up significantly. And this one took 2 minutes, 23.5 seconds. And finally, the Scanland scene, which took the M4 Max 1 minute, 12.5 seconds. Okay, next up is the Blender Viewport test for the M4 Max. And here I'm using my Minotaur scene that I've been using. I still will eventually switch to something that people can compare with. Here I'm just running the animation with materials turned off, and I'm getting about 7 frames per second. And so that's not bad. I'll compare those here at the end. And now I've just turned on the rendered preview mode, so you can see how quickly this generates a really nice image. You can really get a good idea of what your scene looks like, and you're not going to animate with materials turned on anyway, but I will play back the animation here. And here you can see we get about 6 to 6.5 frames per second. So good enough for viewport performance. And again, I'll switch up to scenes that everyone can run at some point so people can compare their results if they want to. But for now, this gives you a basic idea of how viewport performance works with a really heavy scene on the M4 Max. Okay, the next test is the Blender OpenData benchmark, which I'm running on Blender 4.4 on the M4 Max GPU. And this is significantly sped up. And here are the scores, which again I will compare here after we run the tests. I put all of the data into my spreadsheet so you can see the results by other machines. But here are the individual scores. And the final test for this video is Cinebench 2024. And again, this is sped up significantly. And for some reason, the GPU ranking list on the left side of the screen is broken, and I don't know if that's because of the remote desktop or just the user interface in Mac software is broken for this, but it shouldn't affect the test at all. And here you can see the result. The M4 Max scored 13,495 points, which I'll compare here in just a second. Okay, so now we're going to go through all of the results really quickly. These tables will be posted on my community page so you can see the results and compare them for yourselves. But these tables are sorted by the amount of time that each test takes for each piece of hardware. And I've highlighted the new M4 Max results here in yellow so you can see where they are in the list. But let's just start off with the Blender renders. So first off is the classroom scene. M4 Max took 18.5 seconds, which puts it just behind a 4060 Ti and a 3080 Ti. One other notable one here that I've recently tested is the 9070 XT is slightly slower than the M4 Max. We'll revisit the 9070 XT soon, though, because I know that Blender 4.5 is going to have hopefully better rendering support for AMD. But let's move on to Barbershop. So again, here it's in a similar range. The M4 Max is slightly slower than the 4060 Ti, and in this case, it is also slower than the 9070 XT. So these things are kind of in the same group as far as speed goes. Let's look at Lone Monk. This one is always the most interesting because AMD, Intel, and apparently Mac devices all outperform on this test and underperform on other ones versus NVIDIA, and I still don't know why. But let's get into this one just a little bit. So the M4 Max is just a few seconds behind the 9070 XT, but here you can see the M4 Max competing with a 5070 and beating a 4070 Super. So a little bit of a step up in the list there for the AMD and Apple GPUs. And finally, the Scanlan scene. The M4 Max, again, is a little bit faster than the 9070 XT, and fairly significantly slower, actually, than a 4060 Ti in this test. You can go look at these again later on my community post page. You can kind of dig into them more if you would like to. Next test is the Minotaur viewport test. And this, all I record for this test is the frame rate that I observe while playing back the animation. And this is in solid view, like my page here says. It's not in render preview. But you could see that the M4 Max is kind of at the slower end. It's a couple frames per second better than the Arc B580, and it's about half the frame rate of the 9070 XT and the 5070. And as far as this result, I'm not sure how reliable these are because of having to remote in to test the hardware can cause some extra latency, and then I don't know if the CPU itself is maybe not quite as fast as a desktop CPU from AMD that I normally test these other GPUs on. And then finally, as far as Blender stuff goes, we have the OpenData benchmark, and here I have the totals. Let's go ahead and resort these largest to smallest. And so in this test, in the OpenData benchmark, the M4 Max, and this is just the GPU, I did not run the CPU with it. The M4 Max is about half as fast as a 5070 Ti. The M4 Max does still beat the 9070 XT in the OpenData benchmark, and it is significantly slower than the RTX 4090. Finally, the Cinebench results. I only have a couple results in here, so I'll show them just because I have them. I guess the only thing to compare to is that the M4 Max ran just under 13,500 points in Cinebench 24, which makes it quite a bit faster than a 4060. But compare that to your own results, and I'll fill this chart in more as time goes on as well. That is it for the actual data itself. Okay, so you've seen all of the test results. I think we should talk about why I think these kind of APUs are going to be the future for 3D work and rendering in general. And there's a couple key points I want to hit on. So first of all, let's talk about size and convenience. So this here is the M4 Max. It's a Max Studio, and it's tiny. I mean, this thing is just, it's half of the size of most modern GPUs. So I'll hold this up to, this is the 5070 Ti that I tested recently on the channel. I mean, just look at the size difference. I mean, this entire system, this entire Mac Studio system is smaller than a lot of GPUs are now. So, first and foremost, you have a lot easier time placing this, and especially in like a render farm situation. You guys have seen the shelves of computers I have. I could easily fit dozens and dozens of these instead of the 10 computers that I have on those shelves now. So size is the first big thing, and convenience kind of goes with that. So the Mac Studio, when you buy it, it's all included, and you can't modify them afterwards, so you can't add RAM later. But as long as you design the system and you buy the right amount of RAM for what you need, then you should be set. But you buy an entire computer. And so when you start looking at the results on this spreadsheet, the $2,000 for this version of the Mac Studio looks like it's expensive for how it compares in speed. But if you look at something like a 7900 XTX or even the 5070 Ti, you have to remember that those are the GPU only for these price lists here. So for $2,000, you get the entire computer, and it's done. You don't have to buy operating systems or anything else. It's all included. Whereas if you look at a packaged PC that's ready to go with Windows and a 5070 Ti, you're easily going to be well over the $2,000 mark, at least currently. And if you want to get higher up on the speed spectrum, you're going to spend even more. And some of these things, like the 4090s, you can't even find hardly. And if you do, they're not going to cost $1,600 anymore. They're going to be closer to $3,000 used, and that's pretty silly on its own. But point is, when you're comparing these, keep in mind that the prices are for the GPUs only on this list, and the Apple systems are completely all included. So when you consider that, the price doesn't even look very scary, if you will. And then the other main point that I want to make about these is when you start looking at really heavy renders and VRAM comes into play, something like this Mac Studio is going to be really, really nice because they offer significantly more GPU VRAM because the all-in-one processors, the CPU and the GPU part of the chiplets can all access the RAM when needed. So if you buy like the M3 Ultra, which is kind of the same size and shape as this, I think it's technically an older version than the M4, but it's got a lot more cores. So the M3 Ultra starts at 96 gigs of RAM. And so right away, you're going to have access to probably almost 90 gigs of that for the GPU. But you can easily get 96 gigs or multiples of that your Apple GPU would have access to. So if you look at really, really big scenes, the only way to get 96 gigs of actual true VRAM capacity in a normal desktop now is to buy NVIDIA's brand new RTX Pro GPU. And so it's basically like an RTX 5090 speed-wise. It's a 600 watt GPU, but it's going to cost at least $10,000, and it comes with 96 gigs of VRAM. So that's really your only option for normal, just native PCI plug-in cards, and it's extremely expensive. So if you look at the M3 Ultra, which has 96 gigs of RAM available, that one costs $4,000. So you can go up in price a lot from there if you want to add other things, more storage and other features. But for like render workers, that it's kind of irrelevant. So for $4,000, you get 96 gigs of RAM, and that processor is just about twice as fast as this. So if we looked at the Blender OpenData benchmarks, the M3 Ultra should come in closer to the 5070 Ti speed-wise, but it also has that large RAM capacity. So I think in the next few generations, APUs are going to be an easy win for most productivity tasks. I think they've gotten to the point where they're not just power efficient now, they're actually fast in a real way. So in the old days, they were always more efficient just on a wattage basis and a heat production basis, but now they're actually fast enough to use. And with such large RAM capacity, I think the M5 or whatever comes next, and hopefully we have some Intel and AMD APUs that really start to compete with Apple's. But I think you're going to see some really cool stuff there, and it may make desktop GPUs a little bit irrelevant in a way, because you may not want to deal with building a whole system around a GPU that has limited VRAM anyway. So we'll see what the future holds. But I think even at this point, the M4 Max is a really, really good system. $2,000 looks like a lot, but it's really not when you compare it to a full NVIDIA or AMD build in a desktop. Watch for the future on that. I think it's going to be really exciting. And I see a future where my render farm just gets replaced with a few of these Mac Studio devices. And we'll see how that goes. But next video, which I hope to do in the next couple of days, is going to be NVIDIA RTX 5060 Ti. People have been asking a lot about it, and I'm kind of behind on making my videos. So watch for that, hopefully in the next 2 days. And that's it for this one. We will see you in the next one. Let me know if you have any questions.